Hi, I'm Kim Van Dusen. Welcome to World History Online. This is the rise of civilization. Here's an organizer for you, a thinking map, just to give you a little bit of a visual on where civilization arose. It arose first in Mesopotamia, which is in modern-day Iraq. We're going to take a look at Egypt, ancient Egypt. We're going to take a look at ancient India and ancient China. And this is where civilization first began. And some of the essential questions that we want to think about as we move through this presentation are, what factors were necessary for the development of civilization? What role did physical geography play in the development of early civilizations? Which is, the answer to that is physical geography was very, very important, and we'll take a look at that. And what role did these early civilizations play in the development of future civilizations? So here's your journal. So what makes you, you? So as we're looking at civilizations and the rise of civilizations, we want to know what makes those civilizations particular to that region of the world. So if we can take that down to a personal level, we want to take a peek at yourself. Is it a song? Is it friends? What is it that makes you, you? And if you can, try and go a little bit deeper than just physical characteristics. So pause right now and see if you can fill that out with about 5 lines, and then continue from there. When we're studying the past, we use some words that you've probably recognized before. Prehistory is really just the period before writing was developed, and that's where we want to begin. I think you probably know the word prehistoric. You know, when we think of cavemen and we think of maybe the Flintstones. Prehistory is really the same. It's the period before writing was developed. Archaeology and anthropology really work together. They go hand in hand. Archaeology is the study of past societies through an analysis of what people have left behind. Anthropology is the study of human life and culture. So anthropologists use artifacts such as tools, pottery, paints, weapons, household items, and human fossils to determine how people live their lives. So archaeology and anthropology really work together. Some of the best places that archaeologists and anthropologists look, or where the best places that they can look, is going to the garbage dumps of ancient peoples and seeing what sorts of things they used. You get a lot of good artifacts from the garbage dumps. Some of the early stages of development, just to give you a quick little background to that, is we're going to move from hominids, which is, I don't know if you've heard that term before, but 3 to 4 million years ago, to Homo erectus. Maybe you've heard that term. That emerged about 1.5 million years ago, which includes Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. And Homo sapiens are the ones who are first like us. And that they emerged from about 150 to 200,000 years ago. And it's Homo erectus, Homo sapiens then, who first used fire. And if you take a peek at the additional resources listed down here, you can see that there's an interactive map that you can go to just take a peek at how people spread out into early civilization. If you can take a minute just to pause and think a little bit about what you already know about the Old Stone Age, it might just kind of help you to get into the mindset of the Stone Age. So take a minute just to pause, fill in maybe about 5 different ideas. They can be silly if that's all that you know. They can be serious. But anything that you think you already know about the Stone Age, and then we're going to go ahead and move on and see what the Stone Age was really about. Paleolithic, or the Old Stone Age, those mean the same thing, was from about 2,500,000 years ago to about 10,000 BC. And historians really look at turning points in history, archaeologists and anthropologists at this point. And the ability to make stone tools was a very important turning point in the history of mankind, because it gave them the ability to change their physical environment. They made the spear and later the bow and arrow. So any kind of control that human beings can have over their environment is very, very, very important to their development and their success. Hunting and gathering communities were nomadic at first. For hundreds of thousands of years, people just followed their food source. So they moved from place to place, hunting animals and gathering berries and different kinds of plants. So that's how people started. And at some point, they decided to settle down. If we want to look at early human-environment interactions, just to take a peek at geography process, fire really became necessary when an ice age descended upon the Paleolithic world. The most recent lasted from about 100,000 BC to 8,000 BC when sheets of ice covered Europe, Asia, and North America. So whenever we think of human-environment interaction, and we're going to do this actually throughout our course, throughout world history, we're going to take a look at that. We're really looking at how humans and the environment worked with each other, or sometimes against each other. But anytime you see like people changing the environment, or the environment affecting how people, let's say, they dress, they eat, that sort of thing, then we're really looking at human-environment interaction. So it's a really simple idea. And then these are just some early cave paintings that they actually found relatively recently in France. So you can see that art right from the beginning was very important to people. Just to give you a quick little view that nomadic societies actually do and can and do exist today, I just found some images for you of nomads in Tibet, and then we have some people in Zaire. Zaire actually doesn't exist as a country anymore in Africa. I think it's the Democratic Republic of the Congo today. There's still a number of people around the world who live and exist at a subsistence level. So they're growing or they're finding food that they need just for their survival. The Neolithic Revolution is a turning point in world history for people. It is a shift from the hunting and gathering to the domestication of animals and the growing of food, the domestication of food and animals. And this is a very important this is a very important turning point, because this gives people a much more solid control over their environment. Settling in villages, storing of food surpluses led to trade. And when people started to trade goods, they started to specialize in labor. So some people made weapons, some jewelry, some farmed, and so on and so on. So what we see is that when people were able to settle down in villages, then we saw a specialization of labor. And then if you go to today, where there's millions and millions of different sorts of jobs, that started with this first specialization of labor. Growing food led to the defining of male and female roles almost right off the bat. Men became more active in farming and herding animals. The women remained behind to care for the children, perform other jobs, weaving cloth perhaps. As men took on more and more responsibility for obtaining food and protection, they became much more dominant in the family, much more controlling in the family. So right off the bat, we actually see the growing of food, the settling down in villages actually led to different roles between men and women almost immediately. And if you see at the bottom of the page, you can go to additional resources and go to the History Channel's The Birth of Farming and take a peek at the importance of that and why that was important in world history. All right, let's take a break just for a minute and see if you can go back in your notes and put down the effects of the Neolithic Revolution. So why was the Neolithic Revolution a turning point? What were some of the things to come out of it? And you should be able to find 3 different things in your notes that can support that. The Bronze Age, from 3000 to 1200 BC, is really when they have the creation of bronze. Copper was the metal that had been used at first, but mixed with tin, it created something a little bit stronger, and that was bronze. So we really look at the Bronze Age as an important stepping stone in world history. By the end of the Bronze Age, people had concentrated in the river valleys of Mesopotamia, Egypt, India, China, and over in Mesoamerica, which we're not going to look at in this unit, but we're going to look at a few units from now. So if you look at the map here, you can see all the different pockets of civilization, and this right here is Mesopotamia, and this is going to be the first pocket that we look at. Here's where we have Egypt, and India is over here with the Indus and the Ganges River, and then China way over here, the Yellow and the Yangtze rivers are very important to early civilization there.